Hello, Vulcan Nation. My name is Katie Tutzlaw, and we're here at the Jess Strom Show. It is Tuesday, February 6th. Tomorrow, game day, which we all love. Jess, what a crazy 6 games we have had. So kind of break it down for you. 3 overtime wins and then 3 losses. So you talk about being one high and then being one place in a matter of 6 games. It's the PSAC. It's wild, and it's the West, and it is everything that we always thought it would be, and it's been crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's you have to ride the wave, high or low.
Yep.
But yeah, I didn't even think about it that way. I guess 3 overtime wins.
And then 3 losses.
They seem so long ago, but they're really not
No.
because of our schedule. And then, 3 losses. It's like you are. But every game is a game, so it's high intensity.
Absolutely.
Either way, whatever way it ends. They're games.
Yeah, for sure. And let's chat a little bit about the losses first. You know, obviously, we are now in the second half play of PSAC West play. We had Gannon this past Saturday. But let's talk about the losses. All of those games in the second half either tied or down by 4 or 5 and then somehow kind of got away.
Yeah, it is so close. You know, the PSAC West play is so close. So it's a game, but if you look across the board, not just us, most games are games, you know, and we can play the number 1 team in the West, or we can play the number 9 team in the West, and it's probably going to be a game. That's just how it works out. So you just have to stay focused for 40 minutes, and that's a challenging task. It really is to, you know, just play for 40 minutes. It's hard to do. It's hard to do, and I feel like in the games that we won, we maybe made plays when we needed to make the plays.
When you really desperately needed to get a stop or a score, you had it.
We did it, and then, you know, in the games that you lose, it's, you know, a turnover.
Small little rebound.
When you need a score, or, you know, someone from the other team making a play when they needed to make a play. So it's very close. You know, I say all the time, we're really, really close to being extremely good, and we're really close to being extremely bad, all in the same. You know, it's just that kind of season.
Yeah, a little bit of inconsistencies, a little bit of combinations, like, you know, trying to find the niche. And, you know, I think always, you know, we think we know who we are defensively. I think we've kind of remained constant in that. But trying to put it together offensively, it just seems like in terms of lack of scoring maybe, and then some turnovers that have been caused or that we cause ourselves.
Yeah, just at bad times.
At really tough times. Doesn't mean that, you know, it's always tough as a coach. You're so disappointed after a loss because you have higher expectations. I think we all do. I think our own players do. But it's been the same kind of things.
Yeah, it is, and it's tough. But at the same time, we have been here before. You know, we were in a very similar situation last year. So you kind of have to lean on that experience. You know, we have been here before, and we just have to show up now. You know, we can look back to learn from those things and hopefully grow, see some mistakes that maybe we inflicted upon ourselves, and not make those same mistakes. But at this point, we have 7 games, and we have to take care of these 7 games.
Absolutely. And you talk about, you know, the losses that we've had. One being to the number 2 team in the country, one being to the number 2 team in the PSAC West, and another one who we battle with. I think we've had battles with them for the past 10 years, be it in Edinburgh. So all really, I mean,
good teams.
Good teams. You know, because it's tough when you feel like you lose to a game that you're supposed to win. Now, I think, you know, as coaches, you're supposed to win them all, right? Yeah. I think our players, everybody thinks, but these are good teams that are tough battles that we're losing to just on the other end of it.
Yeah, it's tough because when you lose games like that, you go back and you watch every possession, and you kind of just say, "What we could have done this, or we should have done this," and that kind of eats at you. I know as players, it does to them too. Our players watch a lot of film on ourselves, so I know a lot of them go back right after the game and watch the game film, and it's just hard to watch because you know that in those moments you're better than that, or you know you've done that a million times and you get a different result. So yeah, it's just not making the same mistakes. And I think now coming back, playing everybody again, I don't think we will make those mistakes.
No, no, you don't. I think you have an understanding also at the task at hand. It's now or never.
Yeah, and
we don't have many games left to make things up. Like,
No.
it's not the beginning of the year where you can drop one and you're like, oh, okay. It is fight for a place in the PSAC playoffs.
Yeah, and that, our goal is always to make the PSAC playoffs and then win the PSAC. So that is our first goal here. And you can see by the standings, everybody, Gannon obviously is ahead of the pack, but everybody else, you're like 2 games from second or a game from being 7th and out, or 6th and out. So every game is so close. All these games matter, at this point. So it's important that we show up.
Yeah, and I think it's I don't want to call it pressure. It's just the matter at hand. Like, it just is what it is.
Yeah, and I think everybody's in the same boat.
Every single team fighting for playoff spots or is in that boat. And, we always talk about, pressure kind of being a privilege. Like, thank goodness we have this opportunity to be in a situation where we get to fight, we get to play, it means something. That means all the games are important and it means something. And I think that's what you kind of, in a certain way, I mean, obviously you want it to be at the top, you want to kind of go smooth sailing, but isn't this why you play the game, to compete?
Yeah, and I think, we have, at least, if nothing else, put ourselves in position to play in close games. We have experienced those things. We have had to come back. At Millersville, I think we had to come back to make it to overtime to win that game. There's been games that we've been up, and we let other teams come back. So I think a combination of all these games now that we've played has at least given us experience. Experience
and kind of put us like, oh, this is familiar territory. We have been here before.
There's nothing we haven't been through.
Isn't that the truth this year, just because there's been so much and so many different times. But I believe Gary has the highlights from IUP. So let's go back to that IUP on the road there in a tight game. Great atmosphere, as always, on the road at IUP. And, you see in some highlights here, obviously on the offensive end.
Yeah, and it's, this is a tough game because it's the Monday game. So you play Saturday, or you play Wednesday, then Saturday, and then you have that Monday game put right in the middle there. So a little tough, but obviously both teams had to figure that out. Offensively, though, we struggled a bit. Obviously, these are the highlights in the first quarter, especially, and then for the rest of the game, it was a pretty even game. But when we go to IUP, it's a battle. It doesn't matter what the records are. It doesn't matter standings. It just is going to be a battle. And it was just that, and we had it. This game was so crazy because we took 21 more shots than IUP did.
Yes.
And lost by 10. So figuring out that math is a little crazy, but I think that our effort is great.
Got to hats off. I mean, you never really kind of you might have a play here and there where you say, you wish you could have done it better, or we wish you did that. But typically, on our end, it's not about, the effort.
No, it's not. It's about, we just have to execute. We have to make some shots. We have to get some stops. But, I think we did fight till the end. Like, there was a time right there in those highlights we were down by at least 15. And, we just never stopped fighting, which I appreciate, in our team and in our kids. But we got to get them. When we see them again at home, we just have to obviously make some adjustments.
Yeah, and at the end, it was a 10-point game. It kind of didn't feel like that at times.
No.
There were moments in that game where it felt like we were in a bind.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of frustrating because we couldn't. It was like there was a lid on the basket.
Couldn't find
the bottom of the basket.
Yep.
And I think sometimes when that happens, for multiple people, not just one player can't make a basket that game. It seemed like it was most everybody had at some point. I think then you get a little tense.
Yep.
And defensively, maybe you foul because you're a little worried about that. So
almost as if like, oh my goodness, what's going on? Like,
yeah,
we got to be able to put it in.
We can't make a shot.
Like, there is a sense of nervousness that comes along with that, and it's deflating.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a great possession. Say you get a really, really good look at the rim, which I thought we had a few really good looks at the rim, and it kind of just goes right off, and you don't get a rebound, and you're like running back like, oh, I needed to make that.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's been there. As a player, you've been there when there's shots that you're supposed to make and it doesn't go in. there's a sense of like, oh man, and then you have them repeated, and then it.
And I think
builds up.
that in that game, IUP shot extremely well also. So it was just a combination of we shot very poorly and they shot really well. So, typically we can rely on our defense. Well, we only gave up 61 points. So usually if you're giving up 61 points to a team that averages 72 or whatever they average, you have a good chance at winning the game. You know, we'd forced a lot of turnovers. We had a ton of offensive rebounds. It was just putting the ball in the basket.
Yep. And that was 51 points. And then I believe we follow that next game. Same, was it 51?
Something similar.
So we follow that. We're Edinburgh at home.
Yeah.
Always a big kind of rivalry game. And same with IUP. I mean, aren't they all rivalries? I can't say that word amazing all the time. But aren't they always like that? So we go home. You put IUP to bed. And the goal is to always losing back-to-back stuff. So you're fighting. You're like ready to roll, have a sense of refocus. Let's get one. And then come in and basically the same thing happens.
Oh, yeah. And again, you have 1 day to prepare with our schedule. Edinburgh has 1 day to prepare. So it's the same. But it's just tough. It really is. So you maybe don't go as hard in practice. You watch a little more film. But with this game, opposite of IUP, we started out strong in this game. We were up. And then we went through a stretch where we couldn't really score, but they didn't either. Yeah, I think this game, it was 25-19 for the longest time in this game. But in the second half, you kind of just felt it slipping away a bit. You had to just hold on, just get a stop, and we just didn't get that stop. But obviously, first quarter, we were making some shots, and then and this is where I think, it was. Well, here it is, 23-19. But when it gets to 25-19,
this is the score that it felt like it was for eternity.
Yeah, but again, defensively, like we were holding them. 21 points in a half is outstanding.
You're okay with it, like you're
really
super
good.
Pumped about it. And then it just Edinburgh slowly chipped away.
Yeah, that's what it was. It felt like it was slow. We got behind, but then again here, that's a big three from Sierra, put us up. And then, it was just at the end making a shot when we needed to make a shot.
Getting a stop.
Getting the right look. And obviously it ended up 6 because we had to foul, but it was really a 1-point game, 2-point game. Again, very, very close. Maybe making a different read, maybe making a layup, maybe not allowing them to shoot a 3. It was just this close. Yeah. This close.
And, credit to our players. It's not like anybody's not getting up for games.
Yeah.
I think the intensity is there. The idea, like the film watching, the attention to detail before we go in is so sharp, but had a difficult time for 3 games executing.
Yeah, and again, Edinburgh scored 57 points. You should be able to score 58.
Yeah, and that's holding teams under their average.
Oh, way under.
Same with IUP.
Way under.
IUP, Edinburgh. We were holding them to where we should be able to score more points. You
our
feel
average
comfortable.
is more than that. Yeah, so I think defensively we were solid. It's just, got to make a few more baskets.
Yep. And then obviously heading up to Erie, PA, right after 2 losses, really, really just setting the stage, just working to get better. Let's get a win on the books. Go up there. It is a 4-point game with, I don't know.
6 minutes left.
6 minutes left. And again, somehow, some way, don't make the plays necessary. And that's tough. Like 3 in a row is tough. I think everybody was feeling that.
Yeah, obviously Gannon's a good team. I mean, they're number 2 in the country. But, I thought we could have beat them here when we played them here. I still think that we can beat them if we see them again. It's just a battle. It's just, again, they're 2 players. When they needed them, they're 2
Perosco and Claxton.
Players. They just made shots. They just
made plays.
Made plays. And we fought and we fought and we fought and we fought. And, we get it to within 4 and then we turn it over twice in a row. And it's just like those mistakes. And I didn't necessarily think they forced those. We kind of just did that to ourselves a little bit. And it's not a lack of effort. It's not, obviously our kids want to play hard and they want to win the game. So it's just unfortunate at unfortunate times.
Yep.
Really
that just kind of seemed like the those 3 games in a row. That was a story. It was just, it was like when you look back and like coulda, shoulda, woulda, and you just hate to feel like that. So how do you change that focus? Like, how do you get out as a coach? What is your responsibility in this to get us back on track?
Yeah, and I think with how players are now, like I think they're a little different now. They get over things a little quicker. I think you just focus on the next. You know, I think we just have to be super aware of where we are in the PSAC standings, not kind of shy away from that. And like,
No.
This is where we are, this is where we want to get to, so these games mean this. You know, but at the same time, focus on Seton Hill. Like, Gannon is done. Edinburgh is done.
There's nothing you can do about it.
We can't go back. You cannot go back now and make a free throw. You can't go back now and get a stop. So there's no other choice but to move forward.
Yep.
So, you know, I think you just try to refocus. Now you just put everything you have into Seton Hill. That's kind of what we talked about, you know. You put now every single thing you have into this game on Wednesday.
Yep.
Everything.
And, you know, we are going to Greensburg on the road. We are, I believe we talked about this, 5-4 on the road. So, number one, crucial to get a win, but also let's get one on the road. This is tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. in Greensburg at Seton Hill. And what are your thoughts on this game, Jess?
You know, obviously we already played them one time here, and it was a battle. Again, you know, we were
Tight.
up, they came back. But they're similar. They don't give up. Like, even if you're up, they don't give up. They move very quickly. You know, they go off the bounce a lot. So
Their transition pace.
yeah,
I mean,
they go
you
fast.
got to move.
You got to be ready to move. You got to be ready to communicate. You got to be ready to go up and down the floor quickly. You know, they have a really good scoring guards. You know, so I think we'll have to be able to defend that. But defensively, I think is not our issue. So I think offensively for us, just having confidence. You know, some people that maybe aren't super confident in shooting, just take those shots. Like, we need somebody to start making shots. So, you know, just kind of getting confidence. And I think you get that by being in the gym.
Yep.
You know, you have to be in the gym shooting, practicing to get confidence. So it was encouraging. You know, today we had a lot of kids stay after and shoot. We've had kids in the gym. So hopefully we're getting a little more confident on that end.
Yeah, and you feel like, you know, when it comes to shooting and scoring, I always feel like as a coach it's really tough because you have to sit and watch. And sometimes there's just not much that you can do. You can put people in places, you can do that, but like, do you ever get like so like, oh my goodness, we just have to get it into the rim, and you almost feel like a sense of helplessness?
Yeah, I mean, obviously for scoring, you put the work in before the game. You know, it's not like you're just going to show up to the game and all of a sudden be an amazing scorer.
No, I'm talking about as a coach. Like,
yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Like, so we're sitting there, and if we didn't put the work in before, we are helpless.
Like, you can't expect something to come out
happen that you did not put the time in and the work to
and
do.
you preach that with everything, though.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that life? You can't be really great and amazing at something just by wishing it.
Showing up.
And showing up. Like, checking the boxes, especially in women's basketball and especially in the PSAC, checking boxes doesn't get it done.
Yeah, it's the extra time. You know, it's the extra effort. So
yeah,
I just want that to show up. You know,
we've seen it. You know, we've seen it. You know, and it's nice when you go past the gym and you hear the basketballs bouncing and you see people. And you know, one thing I always say about our team, you know, I think deep down it matters to them. Mm-hmm. You know, I think there is a sense of pride. It's just now getting everybody in a position where they know they can make that play, where the belief is in them and themselves and getting it done and relying on your teammates to do it. Like, you know, when you look across the gym and when you're on defense, knowing that person will be there, or, hey, when you're running down the floor and you pass it ahead, knowing that they'll catch it and put it in. Like, there is that kind of, you have to have some type of belief.
Yeah, and I think that it will just take us one good game.
Sometimes it just takes a win.
Yeah, that's all it does. You know, we go through these spurts, and this is typical of every season. You know, maybe it's not 3, maybe it's 2 games in a row, but whatever it is, like, you have these in a season. Most teams have these.
Yes.
You know, you play some tough teams in a row, and you have these games. So it's just how you respond.
It's a sense of resiliency. Mm-hmm. It's a sense of it, like, how do you get through adversity? Like, what do you do about it, I guess.
How do you respond? Do you get in the gym? Mm-hmm. Do you watch a little extra film? Do you get a little more serious about what you're doing? Or do you just brush it off. And it's how you respond. You know, like I said, everybody, probably besides Gannon, maybe IUP has gone through a little.
Like a slump.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit of it. I don't want to say slump because.
A couple rough games.
Well, a couple rough games. But I don't want to call it a slump because I feel like when I look at the scores, we're so, like you said, we're so close. So it's not like you're leaving. You're just leaving there heartbroken that you got a loss when you know that you could have gotten a win.
Yeah.
You know, if it was out of reach, you'd probably be like, well, that was just such a bad game. But when you're so close, you're just like, oh, if we make that play, oh, if we do this, do that. But you know what? That's in the past.
Matter, yep.
And we are choosing to focus on the future, which is tomorrow at 7:30 versus Seton Hill.
5:30.
I'm sorry, did I say 7:30? Tomorrow at 5:30. Men are at 7:30. Tomorrow at 5:30 at Seton Hill in Greensburg. I started to say Greensburg, almost said Johnstown. Jeez Louise, it's been a day, it's been a week. What a town, what a team. But tomorrow on the road at Seton Hill in Greensburg, BA at 5:30 p.m. Jess, what are you most looking forward to?
Getting back on track. You know, hopefully, you know, we go there and we have lots of energy, and you know, our kids are focused in scout. They know what to expect. You know, I think we have a good sense. We had a good practice today. I think, you know, we were going hard. So just to get back at it. You know, nothing is worse than coming off a loss. And then when you have 3 of them, it's like, oh, I just can't wait to get to the next one. You know, I mean, practice is cool. Film is cool, but like we want to compete.
Yep.
We want to get out there and compete. On the road, I feel like we've been on the road a lot, and then finally come back home. So we want to go out there, get a win, and then come back home.
Yep, and that's the name of the game. Just focus on tomorrow. You heard it from Jess Strom, trying to get back on track. 5:30 p.m. tomorrow, Vulcan Nation. You can watch online, calvulcans.com. Please follow along, and we will see you next time.